Professor of Science at Harvard University, Professor Avi Loeb. Professor, always so good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
You knew this was coming. There's a lot to sort through here, but what stands out to you from this release so far, Professor?
Well, thanks for having me. President Trump tweeted, have fun after the data was released. And we were having fun with my research team of the Galileo Project. Over the past hour, we went through all the files, and it looks like some interesting information has been redacted, as the image on the screen shows. And that's really unfortunate. I mean, you can understand the reduction in the context of the Epstein files, but there is no reason to release an image with no information associated with it, because we can't really figure out what's going on. We can't tell how fast things are moving and how far they are, because the interesting information has been redacted from some of these videos and images. But in particular, the Apollo 12 and 17 images show sources of light above the moon, and the one possible explanation would be that the moon is being impacted by asteroids, by rocks. That's what the Artemis 2 astronauts reported. They saw these 6 flares as they were flying close to the moon. And so the question is, are we seeing impacts, flares from those, or perhaps even artifacts that have to do with reflections within the optical system of the camera that are not real? There needs to be more data released before we can say anything about that. Altogether, it's really a pleasure to see this trove of data being released, and because this is the way we can assess whether there is something anomalous, whether it's not human-made, or if it is human-made, it should be of national security important. And the hope is that in the coming weeks, every week, we'll get more and more data released. And so this will be an ongoing saga of trying to see what it means. And I suspect that the more interesting data will be released later, because it takes more time for it to be declassified. And of course, the older the data is, the lesser is the quality of the data, because the instruments were not as good, the sensors were not as good. So I think the best is yet to come in the context of the data that we will see. But this opens the subject to scientific inquiry and investigation and serious discussion, rather than ridicule, the way that the subject was dismissed in the past, either within the scientific community or also publicly. I think it's a serious matter that needs attention, and I will keep following it and trying to figure out what it means.
Well, yeah, Professor, I mean, along those lines, I mean, years of denial, but now the government has increasingly become more transparent. Several people testifying last year to Congress. I'd like to listen to some of that.
You know, I just think people need to know what we've seen and what these pilots are seeing.
If everyone could see the sensor and video data I witnessed, our national conversation would change. I urge us to put aside stigma and address the security and safety issue this topic represents.
That's a Hellfire missile smacking into that UFO and just bounced right off. And it kept going.
It kept going, and it looks like the debris was taken with it.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
A self-luminous, tic-tac-shaped object emerged from the ocean before linking up with 3 other similar objects.
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will. I can't go beyond what I've already stated publicly in my NewsNation interview, because it touches other sensitivities.
All right, so Professor Loeb, we know that there's so much more to come, but do you feel like this drop is now a bit of vindication, maybe in spite of some of the redactions?
Yeah, I do think that it will have an important psychological effect on the public, the way that this subject is being discussed, because we're dealing with serious people within government that over decades reported about things that were dismissed or hidden from view. For example, there is a document, a letter from 1947 talking about flying discs, and it was sent to the Chief of Staff of the U.S. Air Force. 1947. So over the decades, there was a lot of unusual data collected, and it's a mixed bag. Probably many of the reports have to do with either malfunction of instruments or natural phenomena that we don't fully understand. But even if one object appears to be non-human made, that would be the biggest discovery ever made in science.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.